What is up, guys? Orbital-Pilot back here once again in the world of Warthunder. This time, we're going to do a quick tutorial on how I personally would grind American planes and why I would, and the kind of the advantages of American planes over other countries. Now, real quick, I need your guys' opinion on something. So I recently started using a new recording software which will allow me to record in a higher FPS at higher settings. So I need to know, should I record at maximum settings at around 35 FPS? Or should I record at max to high settings at around 45 FPS? Previously, if you would like to know, I have been recording at high to medium settings at 30 FPS. So this recording software is a ton better, and it should allow for smoother smoother videos, and really kind of allow me to upgrade my quality. So guys, I have already recorded this video, but it turned out to be like 35 minutes long, which is way too long to be editing and way too long for what I want this video to be. So I'm just going to get right into it. Now, I noticed my most watched video in my whole lineup was my how I personally grind through all the nations. And I would like to go a little bit more in depth for about 9 or 8 minutes and tell why and how I would grind out the American planes. So, if you're jumping into Warthunder aerial battles right now for the very first time, or if you're in Tier 3, Tier 2, this video will be for you. So, personally, if I was going to jump in and I knew everything I knew now, I would not buy a premium. And if I was to buy a premium, I would either wait till the Spitfire Mark 9 is on sale, which it does go on sale every, I think, couple times a year. It's a great plane to grind with. Or I would buy the BF-109 F4 or the XP-50. Fly them out both, see how you like them, and kind of buy them from where you stand after that. But I would not be too stressed about getting a premium for the American lineup, because personally, I don't think they're that good. So let's jump in to the first line. This is the P-26 line, and this is really your iconic line. You have the P-39, P-51s, 47s, 63s, 38s, and of course at the end you have your F-86 Sabres and your F-80 Shooting Stars. So this is probably your most iconic line. Now, most people are going to jump into Warthunder and fly out Americans because they've heard legends about how great the American lineup was, and how legendary the planes were. Now, P-51s, they're going to hear a ton about. They're going to hear about P-47s and 63s, and that's all great. But a lot of times they go in there without knowing how to fly, and they get destroyed. And after that, they kind of get, they don't not like American planes, they just get discouraged. Because if you don't fly American planes to their advantage, they can be destroyed, absolutely demolished. Yet, if you do fly them to their advantage, they are one of the most powerful nations in the world. So, P-40s and, this whole line, this is really your speed line. These are your speed demons. You have the P-47, one of the fastest planes in the game. You have your P-63s, which have a max speed, at least the upgraded one, of 403 miles an hour. You have your top-of-the-line P-38s at 430 miles an hour. And you have your F-86 F2 Sabre with a top speed of around 690 to 700 miles an hour. So, these are your speed demons, and these are your iconic planes. These are not turn fighters. Don't expect these to be really maneuverable. Now, the P-63s and such, don't get me wrong, they can maneuver, but it's not a wise idea to use that functionality from them. Also, the advantages these planes have are their tier. Look at the P-47's tier, 18,000 RP to unlock, which is ridiculously cheap. And you have a battle rating of 3.7. When down-tiered, or even up-tiered, this plane can absolutely demolish whatever it faces. One of the fastest props in the game, one of the best diving props in the game. You have 8 MGs, so basically you have a ton of firepower, and a plane which sits at a battle rating of 3.7, and in turn can outrun pretty much anything it meets. And if you fly to the correct altitude and use the correct boom and zooming techniques, is pretty much impenetrable from anything else. Now, most of these planes will have 50 caliber machine guns, except for the few occasions where you get, like the 20mm Spanos or the 37, M10, and M4 cannons. If you get good with the P-63's cannons, these planes can be devastating. But don't get me wrong, they are hard to learn. So fly these out, see how you like them, and get back with me there. So yeah, these are your speed demons. These are the iconic planes you're going to go through. And they're much cheaper, actually, than most other countries' planes. I know Germany's end-of-the-line props can be more than 120,000 RP. Yet, this one I think was 120,000. And then you jump right into jets. If you go to the German lineup real quick, you can see that the TAL 152 is 120,000, and that the Focke-Wulf 190D is 100,000 RP. Then you have to go through the TAL 152, which I believe is also 120,000 RP. Then the next TAL 152, which is also 120,000 RP. Don't get me wrong, great planes, but if you're going for jets, you're going to have more to grind out than the Americans do. So, let's move on to the next line. Now, these are your naval fighters, also iconic planes. And they're very, very good at a mix between maneuvering and speed. Now, I would not use the F4Us as turn fighters. Stick to their speed attributes. Now, F8Fs. F8Fs are a little bit weird because they sit at a tier where planes really aren't maneuverable. And a turn time of 20.5 seconds can actually get right next to, if we go to the Griffin Spitfires, is nearing a Griffin Spit. And if you use your advantages, you can actually turn with them. But they're not turn fighters still. These are a little bit more of an energy fighter and a little bit different fighting, don't get me wrong, but they are most definitely not turn fighters. However, at the end of the line, you do get planes with, like the F7F with 4 and 4 more machine guns. So 4 cannons, 4 machine guns, and they are absolutely devastating to anything that they touch. So the next line is kind of your ground attacker line. Now, this is probably, in my opinion, one of the most unflown lines in the game. You don't really see a lot of Apaches, you don't really see a lot of PBJs, you don't really see a lot of 82s, because it's a very, very weird plane in a weird position to fight with. So, your bomber line. Now, this is your B-25, 17s, 24s, 29s, and 57s. These are probably some of the most iconic planes in the whole game. In fact, a lot of times people will download Warthunder just to play with the B-17s. Now, if bombing is what you like, if you like to sit at the PC for 5 to 15 minutes, try not to get shot down and bomb out a base, be my guest. But personally, that is not my play style. But they are beautifully modeled. They do carry the correct armament, and their machine guns can be laser-guided death machines. They are very, very iconic, and don't get me wrong, without them, the game would not be the same. However, they can be very, very frustrating planes to fly, because it's very, very hard to do high-altitude bombing. Not to mention, the Germans have 20mm machine guns, or cannons, so they can often go down in blazes of glory. Now, a lot of people will fly, or play Warthunder to fly out this plane. Well, let's wait for it to load, because it's so big. The B-29 is an absolutely stunningly good plane, especially on max settings, which it is right now. It is very, very, very beautiful. And in fact, it's kind of the plane that helped in World War II. It's humongous. Carries 2,500-pound bombs stock, I think. And if we go into modifications, you can carry up to 8 2000, 4500s. That's a ridiculous bomb load. And they could put a serious dent in the ticket counter. So, I would only fly out the bomber line if you have a lot of patience or you're doing it just because you like the bombers. B-57s are fairly good. In the last one, you do get 8 machine guns, but it's still not worth it to me. If I was going to grind out the American line, I would mainly focus on these two, because these two are probably going to offer the most fun. So guys, this was my video on how to grind and why I grind out the American planes. If you guys are interested in grinding out the Americans first, or if you just want to do it because you've grinded out most of the other countries, it is a great country to grind out. Just remember to always play with your advantages, because unlike other countries, some of these planes only have 1 or 2 advantages. Most of them consist of speed. So always keep your speed up, always keep your altitude, and you will do great with these planes. So guys, if you like what you saw, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.